To differentiate amongst active and passive immunity, we need to take certain examples. See, we will start with the active immunity. A person is affected by certain kind of infection. Say, let's take typhoid or cholera, any of them. So, the first thing what happens is antigen enters into a person's body. Now, this antigen, when it enters into the person's body, it activates the T lymphocytes. This T lymphocyte in turn activates B lymphocyte, and this B lymphocyte further activates the formation of antibody, which we understand as two cases: plasma cell and memory cell. Now, we can understand that this is a big cascade of reactions which is happening one after the other, it gets activated. So, I take it as, or understand here as, the active immunity is going to be a slow process, because the body to be identifying the antigen and then producing the antibody is a very slow process. But on the other hand, it is an active process, meaning to tell it is required at the time, at the very much during the infection. One more example we could be understanding in terms of active immunity is during immunization. What do we do during immunization? We take in certain a dead organism or attenuated organism or directly a diluted form of the microbe inside our body. So, here this microbe which we are taking during the immunization is going to behave exactly like an antigen. So, when this antigen is entering into our body starts producing plasma cells and memory cell, and this memory cell in turn helps us in future when the similar kind of infection happens. But what I understand here is it is a slow process and it takes a lot of time for our body to get attenuated to it. But on the other hand, passive process is a little different kind. There is a ready-made antibody already sitting inside our body. Two examples we could take. The first example is mother's milk, what we call it as colostrum. It is very rich in an antibody called as IgA. Now, the moment the fetus is taking birth, when the child is born, the child is not going to get infection right immediately, right? It is going to be safe for quite some time. Then what is the need of antibody? These antibodies are given to the child by the mother, so that in future if there is infection, it is already there, the antibodies are already there. One more example which we could take is when the fetus is in the womb, IgG antibody is being passed from the mother to fetus through the placenta, and this condition of passage of IgG to the fetus is again another example of passive immunity, meaning the body does not require, the fetus or the child does not require these antibodies at the present moment, but in future if it is coming across any kind of infection, it can immediately fight against that infection. So, that is the passive immunity. So, passive immunity is faster, active immunity is slower.